Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
It feels like the walls are closing in, doesn't it? The kind of moment where time speeds up and slows down all at once, where every rumor, every quote, every tiny update feels heavier than it should. The Toronto Blue Jays are stepping into what might be the most unhinged 48 hours of their entire season, and the situation isn't just tense anymore. It's borderline surreal. There are wild updates flying around, particularly surrounding one player that fans are desperate, almost pleading, to see return. Nothing feels settled. Nothing feels normal. And somehow, it just keeps getting crazier. Welcome back to the Blue Jays Report, because today's story feels less like baseball coverage and more like a psychological thriller. There's an electricity in the air right now, a nervous hum that refuses to settle. 2 games left. That's it. 2 chances for the Jays to officially clinch the AL East and silence months of doubt, frustration, and external noise. The home stretch isn't approaching anymore. It's already here, staring everyone straight in the face. And regardless of what happens elsewhere, this team knows the truth. Take care of your own business, or let chaos take over. Before we dive any deeper, take a moment to like the video, share it with another Jays fan who's feeling the nerves, and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report if you want daily, honest, emotional Jays content as this madness unfolds. Let's start with an update that somehow hasn't dominated the conversation as much as it should, because it quietly carries massive implications. Jose Berrios. Just a few days ago, the words elbow injury sent a cold chill through the fanbase. Elbow injuries don't whisper, they scream worst-case scenarios. Tommy John. Lost seasons. Long rehabs. But then came the clarification. No structural damage. No immediate disaster. According to John Schneider, everything checks out so far, with Berrios still heading for a second opinion from Dr. Meister, one of the most respected names in elbow diagnostics. And that matters. It matters a lot. Not just for this postseason run, but for the future of this rotation. Because when you strip everything back, this team is frighteningly thin in starting pitching depth. Kevin Gausman stands tall, yes, but beyond that, the picture becomes hazy. Trey Savage is still a question mark, full of promise but untested at this scale. The off-season will bring reinforcements, it always does, but Berrios isn't just a luxury, he's a necessity. Whether it's later this postseason or next year, the Jays need him. So while some fans shrug and say they don't expect to see him again this year anyway, this update is quietly enormous. It's a reminder that not all good news screams for attention. Sometimes it just steadies the ground beneath your feet. But if that update was calming, the next one does the opposite. Bo Bichette. Or rather, the increasingly strange absence of him. This situation has crossed the line from concerning into downright bizarre. According to John Schneider, Bichette is swinging, which is good. He's begun throwing a bit, which is also good. But when it comes to running, the most basic requirement to actually play baseball, there is no clear timeline. None. The Jays are hopeful he can return during the playoffs. Hopeful. That word hangs in the air like fog, vague and unconvincing. Rewind 20 days. A rainy afternoon. A terrifying slide. A delay. Then Bo came back out, and everyone exhaled. It felt like a bullet dodged. At that point, the Jays were firmly in control of the AL East, holding off the Yankees and looking like a team destined for October dominance. Fast forward to now, and Bichette has a PCL strain that refuses to give up any clarity. He's throwing, but not running. He's present, but absent. And the language around his return has shifted from confidence to cautious optimism to pure uncertainty. What makes this even more complicated is the human element. Bichette is approaching the end of his contract. This is the moment where careers and futures are shaped. He isn't going to recklessly risk his long-term health, and frankly, no one should expect him to. And yet, on the other side of that scale sits a very real chance to win a World Series. 2 forces pulling in opposite directions. We see him in the dugout, leaning on the railing, watching, wanting to be part of it. It's not apathy. It's torment. This update doesn't inspire confidence. It just doesn't. It's not catastrophic, but it's far from reassuring. There's no promise of an ALDS return, no firm target, just hope. And hope, in baseball, can be cruel. Let me know down in the comments if this update gives you any comfort, because if I'm being honest, it raises more questions than it answers. And if you're still watching, don't forget to hit that like button. It genuinely helps the Blue Jays report reach more fans riding this emotional rollercoaster. And speaking of emotional weight, we have to talk about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The criticism is getting louder now, and for once, it isn't entirely unfair. Another rough game. A single up the middle, but little else. Since Bichette went down, Vlad has looked lost. Not lazy. Not indifferent. Lost. That distinction matters. Calling him lazy is not just wrong, it's illogical. This is one of the hardest workers on the roster. Maybe the hardest. But effort doesn't always translate to results, and right now, the results simply aren't there. You can see it in his swing. The front foot drifting. The timing just a fraction off. The decision-making clouded. His thinking instead of reacting. And baseball punishes hesitation mercilessly. Joe Sedal broke it down on the broadcast, explaining exactly why these slumps happen, but explanations don't ease the anxiety. Because this team needs Vlad. Desperately. You can survive one cold bat. Maybe two. But when Guerrero, Kirk, and Barger all go ice cold at the same time, you're playing with fire. And yet, they're still winning games. That's the strangest part. This team refuses to collapse. It keeps finding ways, leaning on pitching, defense, and unexpected contributors like Nathan Lukes stepping into moments that feel far bigger than his resume. But there's a cost to that. You're asking more of everyone else while waiting for your stars to wake up. Which brings us to today's game, and the pressure cooker surrounding it. This isn't just another matchup. This is a pivot point. Trey Savage takes the ball in what will be just his third career start, and his first ever at the Rogers Center. No pressure, right? The building will be loud, the stakes enormous. Win, and the path clears. Lose, and suddenly you're scoreboard watching, praying for Yankees losses, surrendering control of your own destiny. The maths is cruelly simple. Lose while the Yankees win, and the AL East slips out of your hands. You're dragged into the wild card series whether you like it or not. Win today, and everything changes. Even tomorrow becomes manageable. Control returns. Breathing space appears. John Schneider summed it up perfectly when he said this team has been successful by relying on everyone on the roster all year. That philosophy is about to be tested harder than ever. Especially when you consider the rotation decisions looming on the horizon. Kevin Gausman is scheduled for Sunday, but should he be? Do you burn your ace in a game that might not matter if the Yankees win earlier in the day, or do you save him for a wild card opener that could define your season? There's no perfect answer. Only risk management and consequences. And just when you think the story couldn't get stranger, along comes Alek Manoah. Claimed off waivers by the Braves. Alex Anthopoulos, of all people. It makes sense on paper, sure, but emotionally it's jarring. Another reminder of how quickly baseball turns pages. How yesterday's cornerstone becomes today's footnote. Then there's the bullpen, quietly carrying more than its fair share. Jeff Hoffman somehow rocking a microscopic ERA in September, despite not exactly overwhelming hitters. It doesn't always look pretty, but it's getting the job done. Even after a rough outing, he still closed the door. That's the theme of this team right now. Imperfect. Uneasy. But stubbornly alive. Everything about this moment feels like it's teetering on the edge. One swing, one pitch, one decision could tilt the entire narrative. That's what makes it exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. The Jays are battered, bruised, and uncertain, but they're still here. Still standing. Still fighting. So let me ask you, how do you feel right now? Confident? Nervous? Somewhere in between? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one of those moments where fans need each other as much as the team needs a win. Make sure you're subscribed to the Blue Jays Report, because no matter how this unfolds, we'll be here breaking it all down, every twist, every turn, every heartbeat. The situation keeps getting crazier, and the next 48 hours might just define this entire era of Blue Jays baseball. Buckle in.